Hi everybody, Kavya here. Today I'm bringing you another book video. I am so excited to talk about this series, trilogy, duology, depends what you want to say, because this book is what got me back into reading this year. Also, it was the first paperback I read that wasn't part of my schoolwork. Without further ado, let's just get into it. I am today talking about these books. Chasing Red, Always Red. Oh no, wait, these are in the wrong order. No. Chasing Red, Always Red, Spitfire, In Love. I'm so excited. If you didn't know, these three books are Wattpad books. So they were written by Isabella Ronan first on Wattpad. I read them first on Wattpad and I absolutely adored it back in 2017. And 2019 was when I started really getting into books, and I started reading books that were associated with shows or Wattpad. So that was the first type of books I read. I read 50 Shades of Grey. I love how I said that's the first book I've read. I should not have said that, but I did read that. I read Twilight, Harry Potter. What else? After. I read After. What else movies are there that I read? The Kissing Booth series. Oh, the series, the duology. The To All the Boys Loved. So I read all that. And among them, I read this. This is the first book I read from Wattpad. And I'm actually very happy I read this because this book, due to nostalgia, has a special place in my heart. I'm so excited to talk about this. Chasing Red is actually about Caleb and Red. And this is their two books. But on Goodreads, it goes, apparently it's a trilogy, which includes Cameron and Kara's story, which is Spitfire and Love. But I'm going to talk about each book in order so we can get into it. This is a spoiler-filled video. So if you don't want to get spoiled about these books, I wouldn't watch this video. Sorry. Anyways, let's get right into the first book, which is Chasing Red. So, Chasing Red by Isabella Ronan is the story of Caleb Lockhart and Veronica Stanford. If you don't know the title, why it's called Chasing Red, because Caleb calls Veronica Red and he's chasing after her. In literally most of this book, Caleb is chasing after Veronica. This book I gave 5 out of 5 stars because I absolutely love Caleb. Right now, Caleb is my number 2 book boyfriend. I've got Kaz on the top right now, and I've got Caleb and I've got Cameron on number 3 right now. As of right now, they're my top 3. But I absolutely adore Caleb. Everything he does is just magic. It's oh my god. And when he gets hurt, I get hurt. Oh, this guy. So basically, Caleb's at a club one night and he meets this mysterious stranger in a red dress. Who's dancing the night away, and instantly there's a connection. So this book is insta attraction, insta love, and I know that's not for everyone, but it is for me because I love at first sight, and I know a lot of people don't like it. So if you don't like that, this book is not for you. Anyways, he sees her and she's drunk, but she saves him from a girl who's trying to throw himself at her, but he's a playboy. He's a playboy and he sleeps around, but when he sees her, he's okay, she's different. I want her. And she saves him from a girl who's trying to jump his bones. And he asks, oh, do you want me to take you somewhere? And she gets offended. So she leaves, and then when Caleb's leaving the club, he saves her from taking advantage of. And he, in her drunk state, she tells him she's homeless, and he lets her stay in her apartment. So this is close proximity, if you like, but not the same bed. They live together for most of this book, and it's at the ending because the ending's it's so sad. It's actually so sad. Throughout this book, it's literally Caleb trying to prove to Veronica that he cares about her. At times, Veronica will piss you off, okay? I'm not saying Veronica's the best, okay? There was times I was girl, if a guy did the things Caleb did for me, I would die. I want Caleb. At times Veronica does annoy you, and she will, but the thing is, she does come from a tragic background. It is like Veronica had an abusive father, her mother died, and she's kind of reserved herself into this little shelf. She doesn't trust anyone. She believes everyone that does a favor wants something back from you. So that's why she doesn't let Caleb in. But Caleb breaks her walls. He does. This is a typical bad boy. Well, okay, Caleb is not a bad boy. He's a playboy. But I would not call him a bad boy. I'll call Cameron a bad boy. Oh, would I call Cameron? I don't know if the boys in this series bad boys. Playboys might be the right word for them. Are playboys necessarily bad boys? I'm not sure. But Caleb is a sweetheart. He'll do anything for Red, and it's so sweet. Like, this book is so sweet. And throughout this book, all Caleb wants is for Red to chase him. Like, Red to fight for him, because he's always fighting for them, and it's so cute. In this book, and I love Kara and Kara and Cameron's not in this book. In this book, I love, other than Caleb and Red's relationship, I love Kara and Red, Veronica. They're best friends. And then Beth enters. She's a character that enters their little friendship, and it's lovely. Kara is Veronica's best friend, who's in the spin-off book, and it's all lovely and jubbly. And I love, look, she was fire. I wanted her to burn me like a moth to a flame I could not resist. This was the first line that drew me on Wattpad. Funny enough. You see what kind of stories I like. This book, I'm gonna say, it does one of the characters, not one of the villain, does kind of self-harm. So I'll be very careful. If that's like a sensitive subject, and if it's abusive fathers is like a sensitive subject, I wouldn't read it if that's like, so I'll be careful with that. But other than that, this is a very cute book. I absolutely love that. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars because it's so good. You should definitely check it out. One of my favorite scenes is when Caleb and her go on a date, and Caleb's like, you can be whoever you want with me, and they literally dress like, Caleb gets him matching t-shirts. I'm sorry, if a guy gets you matching t-shirts, he's a keeper. He got them matching t-shirts. Oh, it was so cute. And they went to a pizza shop, they went to a soup shop, they went to an ice cream shop, and then laid under the stars. It was all chef's kiss. If you had to read one book out of the whole trilogy, this is a great. But this does end on a cliffhanger, because at the end of this book, Caleb and Red do separate due to a misunderstanding created by Caleb's obsessive childhood friend, Beatrice Rose. I absolutely hate her. If you don't hate her, if you read this book and you don't hate her, why? You know, I'm going to talk about this in the second book, but in the second book, they actually try to make me sympathize with her. I was like, no, I'm not sympathizing with her. I can't sympathize with her. But you know what? Yeah, so 5 out of 5. Definitely recommend it. Let's move on to Always Red. Always Red starts off where Chasing Red finishes. In this book, roles are kind of reversed. In Chasing Red, it was Caleb fighting for Veronica, but in this book, it's Veronica fighting for Caleb. The book starts and you don't get a lot of Caleb's perspective. He's just disappeared, and it's Veronica, Kara, and Damon who Caleb does not like. Can I just say jealous? Jealous? Is that a jealous? Why doesn't that sound right? That's a word, like jealous. Jealous, not jealous. Jealous. I'm having one of those days again. Jealous Caleb is chef's kiss. We love a jealous boyfriend. We do. In books, not in real life. Anyways, Damon is there's a close friend of Veronica that Caleb misunderstands that they're together when, like, they see each other for the first time at a club, where Veronica's crying in the alleyway because she knows she screwed up by not trusting Caleb, by believing Beatrice Rose that they slept together, which in reality that never happened. Caleb was just comforting a friend, but she took advantage, and it was so sweet. Caleb was actually dreaming about Red, and in Chasing Red, Caleb was dreaming about Red, Veronica, and in the meantime, he was in the bed with Beatrice Rose trying to because she just had a panic attack. He misunderstood her and kissed her, and he was so honest to Veronica about it. And this is what I'm like, Veronica will piss you off because she just assumed that he like betrayed her, but he didn't. Anyways, Veronica realized her mistake in Always Red, and it's like, it's very cute, and the way she tries to win him back, and they do, and they have this really cute beach scene, and very quickly, people are not gonna like this, but I absolutely adored it. Caleb asked Veronica to marry him, which was really fast. I get that, but it's Caleb and Veronica, okay? I don't have anything to explain to you, but yeah, they get engaged and they start looking for houses. But at the same time, Justin, who was Caleb's ex-friend, kind of frames Caleb for drugs. Beatrice Rose tries to kill Veronica. There's this thing, but they all come together at the end, where Caleb and Veronica realize they've actually met in childhood. I'm not just spoiling the whole book, but I'm not doing it justice. So if you should read this book or the books to really understand what I'm saying. One thing about this book, I did give it 4.5 stars because the characters are a bit off. I feel like there was this one scene where Veronica let Caleb so seeing Veronica with Damon got Caleb really angry, and he dragged her along the party. It was his birthday party, and he dragged her with him to the back cottage, and they had angry sex. Now, I'm all for the sex in the book. I can't believe I said that, but it was very out of Veronica's character, even Caleb's character, to actually force Veronica. It was like forced, but like to drag her, manhandle her, and it was out of Veronica's character to actually let herself get manhandled. So the characters did seem a bit off in this book, but it was okay. This book very nicely concludes Chasing Red. It's not all lovey-dovey, but there's a lot of lovey-dovey scenes in here, so yeah, and I really enjoyed it, but I did give it 4.5 stars because the characters were a bit off to me. So yeah, this is Always Red. Now let's talk about the spin-off series of Always Chasing Red, which is Spitfire in Love. In Goodreads, Spitfire's Love is right after Always Red. It was released right after, not right after, it was released in 2019, but it was released after Always Red, and it is considered the same series, but this book is actually set before Chasing Red. So in this book, there's no Veronica. There's Caleb and Cameron together. I absolutely love them. I think I talked about them in my wrap-up, but they are actually adorable. I absolutely love their friendship in this. Cara and Cameron are so good. So basically, let me give you a bit background about before I get into this story. Throughout Chasing Red, we got Cara and Cameron being hostile towards each other. We saw that, okay, they have history together, they used to date, but they're not together, but there's so much in love. Like through Caleb and Veronica's point of view, we see that they got kissing, but they're so miserable without each other, but something's stopping Cameron from going to. I bought this book thinking it will explain everything, but it doesn't. So that's why I gave this book 4 stars. I was expecting it to explain why. I was hoping that it was in the same timeline as Chasing Red. It's not. So the thing is, this book on Wattpad has Spitfire in Love, Reckless in Love, and Wicked in Love. So it's trilogy, but she's only published this one, Isabel, and I don't know if she's publishing the others. And I don't want to read the ones that are not published on Wattpad because I'm too busy reading fan fiction. So I was very upset that I don't know what happened between them, because this book ends with a happy note, but they never said I love you to each other, so it kind of like, it feels like she's done with this story, like she's not going to publish Cara and Cameron's story, but they never said I love you to each other, so that was kind of sad. And there was, okay, you know what, let me just get right into it. This book is about Cameron St. Laurent. I love him. Cameron, I read this book. This book made me believe in like the Caleb and Cameron like supremacy. They're superior. I love them. Okay, I love them so much. And Cara Hawthorne, she was in Chasing Red. She was Veronica's best friend, but in this was obviously set before Chasing Red, so there's no Veronica in this. Like I said, it's only Caleb Cameron and Kara, but obviously not a lot of Caleb. It's more like Cameron and Kara. So, okay, Kara is your feisty, bubbly girl. She doesn't take shit from anyone. If you mess with her family, especially, she will bash your head in, because she's that type of girl. She does not take shit from anyone. Cameron is your typical... I think Cameron might be a bad boy, because he does have anger issues, but to be fair, so does Caleb. You know, for the purpose of this video, to make it easy, let's just call both of them bad boys. He's your typical bad boy. He's got his temper issues. He works in construction to get rid of his temper issues. He has a strained relationship with his family. Caleb has a strange relationship with his father only, not his brother and mother. But Cameron is a only child. He hates his mum. He calls her by the name, and he doesn't get along with his dad that much either. Once again, in this, it is very Wattpad-y. Like, these three books are very Wattpad, because Cameron and Kara, they see each other the first time in, like, Kara sees him at school first. She's like, oh my god, he is fine. And then Cameron sees Kara outside his house when she's threatening one of the customers of her garage. So her dad owns a garage and she works there, and this customer hadn't paid up, and she threatens him, literally. And Cameron's like, oh my god, who is it? And he calls her Spitfire. And they're into attraction, and then they meet officially. It's the most bizarre but funniest scene I've ever, but it's the most bizarre scene I've, like, official first meet. It's so bizarre. Kara is lactose intolerant, so she eats some lasagna and she really needs to go to the toilet. She goes to the toilet and she farts really loudly. And in the same toilet next door, Cameron is having sex with a girl, and they hear her fart. It's so bizarre, but at the same time, like, it's so unconventional. Like, I haven't read a book that does that. But it was so, they both just brushed over, like, okay. Like, they both just did not want to talk about it, and it was really nice. Really nice, and it was really funny, and yeah. Anyways, Kara's brother Dylan actually by accident crashes Cameron's precious motorbike. He loves motorbike, same thing. He loves his motorcycle, absolutely. Cameron and Dylan, who's Kara's brother, accidentally crashes it. Kara comes to Cameron without knowing who he is at first, but then she realizes she's so screwed. Cameron was all ready, like, to, like, hit the person who did it, but then he realizes Kara's brother, and he didn't want to get Kara's bad side, so he agreed to let it go, but on one condition, that Kara has to give him a ride wherever he wants, whenever he wants, until the bike is fixed, otherwise he'll call insurance. So he kind of, like, blackmailed Kara, because Kara will do anything for her family. And then it starts a series of chains where Cameron and Kara are close proximity. Well, they have to, like, exchange. They're, like, always in each other's presence. They start waiting for each other after classes. But then there's this whole thing that Cameron cannot let Kara come near because of his mother. In this book, we don't really know why. Because I guess that's why on Wattpad she wrote 3 books. Because I guess she was waiting to publish the other 2. But this was published in 2019. And the other 2 books, I know on Wattpad, Reckless in Love is finished. But it's not published. So I'm like, is it ever going to be? But anyways, so this book does have a lot of loopholes, is that? Or holes in the story. But this loop just tells how Caleb and Cameron became friends. It was the cutest thing ever. Cameron wanted nothing to do with Caleb, but Caleb, because being Caleb, would not let Cameron go because he's my baby and he adores his friendship even when they weren't friends. They were actually enemies. They hated each other. But then Caleb was like, one day, is like, do you want a sandwich? And they're like, yeah, because that's how guys become friends. Over sandwiches on construction sites, smashing things because they both have anger issues. Anyways, yeah, like I said, the plot holes is like the whole situation with Cameron's mum. That's not really explained. The whole situation, Kara's mum apparently ran away, but I wish there was a bit more to it. But I guess one book can't really fit. But the whole why Cameron doesn't want Kara near his mother was not explained properly, and that kind of annoyed me. And I did not like how this book ended without them saying I love you, because if this is the one book I'm only getting, if this is a standalone of Kara and Cameron, I need a I love you at least once, but there was nothing. I did give this 4 stars, but now I'm like saying all the odds. I'm like 3.5. But you know what? Overall, it was a good read. I enjoyed it. Was it the best read? No. Out of all these books, if I had to recommend any book, would it be this one? No. Because unless you read this as a standalone, like you don't read the other books and you read this book with no expectations, then maybe you will enjoy this a bit more. But it is instant attraction. It's some of them, there's not major, but there's some plot holes in this book, so you have to be careful with that. Other than that, you could try it, but I like the cover. It's very nice. But out of all these 3 books, if I was to recommend you read something, I would recommend Chasing Red. It's like the one book, but it does end. It doesn't end with Caleb and Veronica together. So if you're gonna have to read this. So I'll just recommend, if you don't want to read Spitfire in Love because you want to know, you don't want to read Spitfire in Love, which I guess it's completely understandable because it's kind of it feels incomplete. Kyra and Cameron's story, and I'm so upset. They sound like one of my favorite characters because Cameron really pushed Veronica towards Caleb and Kyra pushed Veronica towards Caleb, and they became my favorite characters, and I wanted to know, but their story feels really incomplete with just one book, which it is. I don't know what's going to happen. If anyone knows if she's going to publish the other 2 books, please let me know because I would really want to read them, and I'll make another video about just the trilogy, the other separately. But anyways, just if I was to recommend 2 books, read these 2. Chasing Red and Always Red. They're very good. They're not for everyone. They're very, very, very Wattpad-y. They're instant. I will say instant love. You know what? Yeah. As soon as Caleb saw Veronica, he fell in love with her. There was no doubt in my mind. Even if he didn't say, I think he said it out loud. Or do you want? Let me find extract if I can see if he'd fell in love with her or not. Well, I can't find when he says it like so, but in like page 4, Caleb literally tells Veronica, "I've been looking for you my whole life." In my books, that's basically saying, "I love you and I'm ready to marry you." So it is very fast paced. That's the word. This book's actually all 3 of these books are not slow burn at all, and they're a bit too fast paced at times. Like, hey, you just got back together and now you're getting engaged. Like, hold it. But I actually really like these 3 books. My taste in books is not the same as you, so you have to remember that. Overall, I actually really enjoyed these 3 trilogies, and I think when I read them, I've actually reread these 2 about like every year I read them. This one I just got this year. I got last month. It was in my haul. Would I reread this? Probably if I don't have any book left. Like, it won't be my last list, but if I don't have any book left, or if I'm bored and I want like a bit of fun, I'll read this. But it is very angsty. You know what? This book is way more angsty than these 2, which is kind of weird because it's a lot shorter because of the size and stuff, which pisses me off. These 2, because I always put my series together because I don't like them alone, and according to Goodreads, this is a series. I don't like how short this is. Look, it's so annoying. It looks so bad on my shelf. But anyways, this is the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for the rambling. Hope I convinced you to read Chasing Red. Is it worth it? Is this book series worth it? Let me answer the question. For some people. For some people, Chasing Red by Isabella Ronan is worth it. Like, for me, it is worth it. But I'm telling you, I know this book series is not for everybody. It's a love. Wattpad, first of all, very Wattpad-y, very fast-paced. So I'll be careful if you're going to read this. I'll be very careful with going into it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Tell me, if you have any book recommendations or any video ideas for me, comment down in the comment section below. Announcement. I made a TikTok. I've uploaded one video or two, one, I don't know yet. It's in the description down below. Also, I've opened our Amazon wishlist. By all means, you don't have to buy me anything, but if you would like to, you can go check my Amazon wishlist. You can buy me something on my book recommendations, or you can recommend me some more books for my wishlist, and I'll buy myself. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And I'll see you guys next Saturday. Bye, guys.